Hello, I'm Troy Parker, President of Innovative Labor and Cleaning. Most of you already know that. I thank you for watching this video. Now, I hope that you'll watch to the end of the video. If you watch to the end of the video, you'll see how you can win money by participating and we growing together in this journey. So watch to the end. I know you can just skip to the end and see, but then once you skip to the end, then you're not gonna have to watch the video. So then you're not gonna be able to participate because then you don't know what the hell the video is talking about. So watch the whole video and then at the end, you'll see how you have an opportunity to win money. Hello, I'm Troy Parker, President of Innovative Labor and Cleaning, and this is another Mental Health Monday. How many of you struggle with time management? Once Earl Nightingale said when he was asked, how do you manage time? He said, you can't manage time, you just manage events. Now I know when I was incarcerated, it seemed like time moved 10 times slower than it does now that I'm out in the free world. For example, if I was to write a letter home, I would write the letter Monday, and then I'd put it in the box in our unit. It may sit in that box for 2, maybe 3 days. Then it would go down to the mailroom, which is still inside the prison. It would sit there maybe another 2 days. Then it would finally leave and go to the post office. By the time the letter got to, say, my mom, and let's say, for instance, I was asking maybe for a book, it would take probably 2 weeks to get to my mom. Then my mom would get the book and whatnot and mail it back. The whole process usually would take anywhere from a month to maybe a month and a week. When I returned to society, I saw that with technology, things moved a lot quicker. So what I normally would do in prison as far as communication with people, you could talk on the phone, but you only had so many minutes. So if you only had 300 minutes a month, you would use those calls for your wife, your kids, your mom, immediate family. A lot of other people that you knew but maybe wanted to reach out to, you would have to do that through the mail. Now, then I started thinking one day when I was sitting in the public library, how come I'm measuring time the same way I did when I was incarcerated? I quickly saw, even though I was working out of the library because I didn't have an office, I quickly saw I could do 5 things that used to would take me in prison probably 2 or 3 days to get done. I could do them in an hour or 2 hours. So I came up with this little theory that a 24-hour day is no longer the way to keep time. I broke my days into little short segments of 6 hours apiece. And what's strange about this is there's a gentleman named Ed Marlette, and he has a system and it's called 3 days in 1, where he breaks the days up from 6 a.m. to 12 in the afternoon, then 12 in the afternoon to 6 p.m., then 6 p.m. to 12 a.m.
My day starts at 6 a.m. and it runs to noon. That's a day. So in that window, I'm getting the amount of contacts, meetings, appointments, learning, growth, whatever the hell it is, fun in that day. And then a second day starts from noon to 6 p.m. Same thing. I run a full day's life in there. Fun, family, faith, production, recruiting, meetings, Zooms in that day. Then I got a third day, 6 p.m. to midnight. That's a third day. So if you shrink time like that, and then I got this clock that goes off at the top of every hour, it's a psycho deal. What it does is it reminds me, what did you do the last hour? It's an accountability. So I get 21 days a week. It's an unfair advantage. I get 21 days this week, you get 7. The game's over, man. So I've shrunk time. When you shrink something and it becomes more scarce, it becomes more valuable, you waste less of it.
Basically, because I got up early, I did mine a little different. Because I always got up at 4:30, something like that. I would start my day around 5 and I would just break it into 6-hour segments. Now, what is the advantage of this? Normally, we've just been taught that, okay, you got 24 hours in a day, everybody's got the same 24 hours. That may be true, but the difference is most people waste large segments of that 24 hours just either gossiping, taking time just to figure out what they're going to do before they do it. So I started doing a few steps. One, the night before, I would always write out the 5 or 6 things I wanted to get done the next day. And I'd have those 5 or 6 items within that first 6-hour window of the day. Now, if those tasks weren't able to be completed in that 6 hours, then I might have 4 of them in that first 6 hours. Then the next 1 or 2 would be in that next 6 hours. So I was sure by at least that evening, I would have gotten them all done. But I also found that because I knew, okay, hey, I'm gonna go right in and work on task number one. One thing I always did was remove distractions. When I go into my office, one, I silence my cell phone, and then I work and focus just on the task at hand. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, things will happen in the office, or even say I'm working at home, and we all know during COVID, my little 6-year-old would piddle in and ask, Daddy, can you do this? Or someone comes into the office. So there is still gonna be some disruptions. But the key is to handle the disruption quickly by one, seeing, is this something you need to take your attention off of your main number one task or number two or number three task and deal with immediately? Or can you simply jot a quick note down and say, okay, I'm gonna get back to you later in the day. Now, in my days where I would have the 4 main things in that first 6-hour window, then the last 1 or 2 in the next 6-hour window, I'd always have a time. I'd set aside an hour or so to go back and deal with anything that came up during the day. And I usually used between 2 and 3 o'clock to deal with anything that popped up during the day. So if I was working on task number 1 or number 2 and somebody said, hey, this happened, we need to address it, I would first ascertain, is this something I need to stop doing, task number 1 or 2 that I'm working on, and deal with immediately? Now, sometimes it is. Sometimes it might be one of the dump trucks broke down. So you gotta, send out the tow truck, or it could be something else that, someone needs to see you immediately down on a job site. That's fine. If that happens, you go take care of that. And then instead of getting all thrown off, and this is what most people do, I've done this sometimes myself. You go down to the job site or you go to your customer, and then you say, oh, geez, oh, Pete, now it's already noon and I haven't gotten any of the first 4 tasks done. And so we give up and say, well, we'll start it all again tomorrow. No. What you do is you immediately go back to the office, get back on task number 1, and what you'll find is that you may not get all 4 tasks done in that next 6-hour period. But if you stay working on them, by the end of a 5 o'clock hour day, I've never had a time where I didn't get either all of them done or all but one done by the end of the day. So looking at the day in 6-hour windows, one, you're just more or less doing little sprints each 6 hours. You work diligently at the task, put all you can into it, don't check your emails, don't answer your phone, and focus on that. Then move to the next task, then the next. Now, if you want to have a break in between each task and say, okay, I'm gonna do task number 1, once I get that done, I'm gonna check my emails for half an hour and I'll respond to half an hour worth of emails. Now, people say, well, how do you know it's a half an hour? You can have a little timer at your desk. And I actually have this where I say I'm gonna work on, maybe if task number 1 is a big task and I have to spread it over several days, I'll say, okay, I'm gonna work on it for an hour and a half straight. I'll set a timer for an hour and a half, work on it. Then when the timer goes off, I immediately move to the next item. If the next item is checking your emails, set the timer for 30 minutes, check your emails for 30 minutes, and then responding the best way possible. You want to deal with everything one time. Don't hurry through an email and screw it up and then think, oh yeah, I forgot this. And then you got to go back. Then you've handled it twice. So if you can only get 10 emails done in the 30 minutes, make sure you responded to them and they're dealt with so they don't come back to you and you don't have to change anything. Then you move to task number 2. What you'll find is if you do 1, write out the main things you want to get accomplished the night before. Don't try to walk into the office, because I've had days where I've done this where, maybe I'm up Netflixing a little too late, and so I don't write them out because I don't go to bed till midnight. Then I get up the next day and try to sit there and say, okay, now what do I got to do? And then you just draw a blank. So write out the task the night before, just the 5 or 6 things you need to get done. Then put them in the time slot of the 6-hour segments of the day. If you want to start your 6 a.m. to 12, then 12 to 6, then 6 to 12. Now, some of the time, now I realize after 6 o'clock, that's going to be family time and other, but a lot of individuals will spend family time up until maybe you put the kids to bed at 8, and then they'll go back in and they'll work maybe from 8:30 to 11. There's been evenings, even like in doing videos, where I said, heck, it's 11 o'clock and I've shot several videos from like 11 to 12 o'clock. So it all depends. Everyone is different. But if you plan the day out one the day before, then next, segment it into your time slots, and then leave room because, no day is going to go perfect. We have to be like bamboo. You have to be able to bend when things come up in the day, quickly ascertain, is this something I need to stop what I'm doing and go handle this, or is this something that can be handled later? If it is, jot it down, or if it's something someone else can do, delegate it and then get back onto whatever task you're on. I hope that helps you, and as always, remember, it's up to you to make your life matter. Okay, now we're at the end of the video, and I know everybody's chomping at the bit to find out, well, how the hell we get some money? Here's how you get the money. You guys will receive the link Monday morning, probably around 9 o'clock. The first 3 people to respond back, and you have to respond back speaking on how the video has either affected you, could affect you, how you could use what the video talked about. You can't just text back and say, I like the video. No, this is something you're gonna have to put a little effort in. Now, at 6 p.m. Monday night, the first 3 people who send back their response of how the video either helped them, how they could use the video, something that you can tell the person watched the dang video. The reason I'm having you text back to the same number and not just put it on YouTube is that way it stays private within the company, because we're a family and this whole purpose of this is for us to grow together. There's a lot of things that I don't know that you know, and there's things I might be able to share with you that you don't know. It's as if we were all sitting around a round table. The room that we're sitting in is going to look different to each of us because we're sitting someplace different all around this table. And that's the same way life is. So there's some experiences I may have never experienced that you have, that you could help me with. There's some points of view I've maybe never thought of because, maybe I've never experienced it. I never experienced it coming from where you're coming from. So the whole thing is for us to build each other. So just remember, watch the video. You got all day to watch it. The first 3 people to respond back after 6 o'clock, because if you respond back at 5:54, 5:55, that's not going to count. It's after 6. You get the $50 gift card. Now keep in mind, sometimes it's not going to be 50. Sometimes I feel a little generous now. It could be 100. It could be 200. The whole thing and the point of me doing this is to get you guys to pour in to each other and to me, and we share with each other and we grow together. This business has grown not because of me, but because of all of us. I couldn't have done this by myself, and I know that, and I thank you all for all you've helped me to do, and I hope I've been able to help you. And this is another way to give back, because a lot of times people will see me and say like, hey, how'd you do this? Or how would you do this? And there's times I come to people and be like, hey, how do you think we should do this? Because I don't know everything, and you don't know what you don't know. So I hope you guys will participate. Please hit the like button, share the channel, because even people outside of the company could watch and gain things from the video. Now, the only people who can win the money are those in the Innovative family. So it's not like when the channel grows and we get 1 million people watching it, everybody can get the $50. It doesn't work that way. It's only the people who are teammates in the Innovative family. I thank you again, and remember, it's up to you to make your life matter.